It's May 17th. I'm here with Mom and Dad and Linda as well. So what can you tell us about this picture, Mom and Dad? I see a very handsome couple on the left.
I think we were newlyweds, and I think that dress was given to me by Grandpa for Christmas. Because every year he would give all of his daughters a dress, and they always fit. Somehow he picked them out and they fit, and so that was the one he picked out for me. And he did that for quite a few years. And then finally he missed one year, and then he didn't ever do it again.
So when you say he missed, was it a Christmas when you were in Ashton and you opened it there and put it on?
No, I don't know. It was later than that.
Oh.
But there were a couple of dresses that didn't fit. And so that was the last year he did it. But he had never missed until then. That was...
Wow.
Well, the reason was that he'd been living right with them all that time they were growing up and knew what their sizes were, but when they got married and started divulging in a few places, it threw him off.
So this says February of 55 on the side of this picture.
Oh, okay.
Is that, could that be right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me that's interesting because I would have already been born.
Yes.
I would have been, 3 months old right there.
So we, what was the deal? We came out to visit because Grandpa had fallen off the haystack and hurt his back. And so they gave Dad they wouldn't let him be discharged, but they would let him come home for a few weeks to help Grandpa.
From Fort Monmouth?
From Fort Monmouth.
We thought that Dan and Mary Hess had a lot of influence with the Veterans Administration and thought that they could get me out of the Army at that time. So that was the big goal, was to come home and hopefully get me out of the Army on a medical discharge because of my dad being a farmer and having a broken back. But the answer was, when they approached the Army about that, they said, we have spent too much money training him, we're not going to let him go.
Wow.
So I had to go back.
Wow.
So I went back and left Marlene here with her folks for a while as Linda.
Yeah, they came up about a week later after Dad had left, and then Linda and I went to California. You can't remember it.
Know that story.
And so
No kidding.
I'm not sure how long we stayed there. And then Dad got transferred by then to Fort Meade. And you?
No, you were there when I graduated and was transferred.
Oh.
So we're still in 1955 here, and you must have stayed with Linda in California for
a while.
maybe into March. Can you identify who's in the picture from left to right?
Rulon, Marlene,
Here's
Grandma, Laura,
Grandma Laura.
and Grandpa Hillam, George Marvin.
So who's
And
off of his left shoulder?
I think that's Melvin and Molly, isn't it?
Yes.
Melvin's in behind and Molly in front. And I don't know who that other man
This
is.
is Weir
Oh,
and Helen.
then it
That's
isn't
not
Melvin and
Bernice?
Molly then.
This is Melvin and Molly right here.
So it's
But
Melvin
that's
and Molly.
not Weir and Helen, because that's Bernice.
This is Bernice.
Didn't you tell me it was Lauren?
Yeah, that's Bernice. I don't think that is Melvin and Molly. That doesn't look like Melvin to me.
No, that is not Melvin and Molly. That's Helen.
Oh, okay, so it must be Helen and
Weir
Weir.
and Helen.
And that's
And I
another.
think that's Guy.
Okay, that sounds right.
That's her older brother.
And then Bernice.
Guy and Bernice. So,
She had 11, there were 11 children in Grandma's family. And most of them were boys, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 sisters.
Well,
Or, let's see.
there's
Oh no, there was
Faye,
more than that.
Faye and
Lila
Lila
and Florence.
and Florence and Marlene.
so now that we're clear, off of Grandpa's left shoulder is Grandma's brother, Weir,
Yes,
and his wife Helen.
yes. And they lived in
Pocatello.
Pocatello.
So Weir and Helen Lemmon. Okay. And then that's Guy Lemmon,
I think that's Guy.
Uh-huh.
also Grandma's brother, and he's got his arm around Bernice.
Yeah. Yeah. Had his wife died? Maybe, I don't know.
Are you sure that's Bernice?
Yes. Well,
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone.
I gotta get my magnifying glass. Well, that is Bernice.
Is it?
yeah, I thought it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Bernice.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Grandpa's fall, Dad, and
About what he said or what he expressed himself when he hit the ground.
No?
Oh, when he fell off.
I think I could probably give you a pretty accurate reproduction.
He probably shouldn't.
Yeah, you probably should. We could all guess.
Somehow he was putting a load of hay on the trailer or on the sleigh, whichever it was, and that top layer fell back on top of him. And if you look at the ground out there where we had our haystacks at that time, it had a very definite slope. So it was very deceiving when we built a stack or moved it, because it was always sloping down. Anyway, I fell several times. And I fell when we were down in the field one time. That's how I first sure hurt that shoulder. We were right at the bottom of the hill where we go up there by the house, and the same thing happened to me. I threw a bale of hay clear up just as they moved, and that thing come back on me, and I fell off the back, and then the bales hit me, rolled on top of me.
did he break his back from that?
I don't know whether it was officially broken, but he was in bed for months or so. And when I got there, I rigged up a system at the end of the bed. I got a board that was about that long, about 2 inches wide, and I attached a pulley to it. And I ran a rope up through that pulley from the end of the bed up onto his bed, and tied that to a dish towel that was tied around his feet. And then I put a sack of rocks on the other end of that, so it pulled his spine apart, supposedly.
Some traction.
Yeah.
Gave it some traction. So that's how he laid there and finally got better. Because that relieved that smashed disc in
Maybe
his
that's
back.
what you need.
Anyway,
That good picture.
Wow.
I still got that somewhere. I just saw that the other day after
The pulley?
The pulley and the
Was that right?
thing that I put together.
I'll be darned. Anything else you'd want to add, Mom?
No.
Any memories there? That's a good-looking young couple there.
That was probably the first. Well, I don't know if I had met the Lemmon relatives before that. I don't think they were to our wedding, were they?
Oh, this might be the first time you met them.
That probably was the first time.
Well, they're in coats, and
Yeah, you're
Guy
right.
is too, as though maybe they're about to leave, and this picture's being taken right before they get in their car and go.
Probably.
And you're probably stepping out of the house for a few minutes to take a picture, but it's
think
probably
that's-
very cold.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks like there's probably some snow in the background.
Because I think that was February when we came out there from New Jersey.
From Fort Monmouth, New Jersey.
I still think it was Fort Meade, but
And when we went back there, I didn't want to drive alone, so I invited Arnold to go with me. He was a teenager at that time in high school.
Oh, really? Because you had the task of driving back, and Mom was going to stay in California with Linda.
Right.
Would that have been in Redding at that time? Okay. And so
a red
you
bluff.
invited Arnold to go with you.
Yeah. Anyway, we stopped at lots of places. The one I remember the most was Tom Sawyer's place in
Hannibal.
Missouri. We stopped and spent quite a bit of time there.
Huh.
And we went on over to Nauvoo and
Really? Just you and Arnold?
Just me and Arnold. And we had a great time. The reason I took him was that he had an aunt. Evelyn's sister lived in Virginia, and were our really good friends.
Who's Evelyn?
Evelyn was Gordon's wife.
Oh, okay.
The Harold's
So that was Arnold's
so that was
aunt.
Arnold's aunt.
And she
So
lived
he
in
went with the express purpose of staying with them for a while, which he did, and then he eventually went up to New York and met Melvin and Molly, and stayed with them for a while.
What were they doing in New York?
Well, Melvin and Molly lived there. He worked for the Arabian American Oil Company for many years. And Arnold stayed with him for quite a while, and finally he had to come back to go to school or whatever it was. But he had to come back, and I think Melvin gave him $50 or so, and that's all the money he had to make it back and forth to the country. I don't know whether Melvin knew that that's all he had, but I think Melvin gave him $50 to make the trip back.
With what mode of transportation?
Bus. Mostly bus.
I have to ask who Melvin and Molly are.
Well, Melvin was Molly's husband, and Melvin was my mother's brother.
Okay, so this
He was
is
right.
another Lemmon brother.
Yes, another Lemmon brother.
They didn't have any children of their own.
Oh,
So they lived in Tuckahoe, New York. But then they would ride the subway into New York City every day to work. And so we went to see him the first time in the summer when I was expecting Linda. And they were just so nice to us, took us downtown New York, and we did everything there was to do. We saw the
Empire State Building.
but what did they call? Oh, the Rockettes. We went and saw the Rockettes, and
Rockettes, Rockefeller Center.
anyway, we went in on Grand Central Station. That's how we got into New York City.
so they took you on a train and you emerged out
Yes.
of Grand. That's quite an experience.
Yeah, that was a fun experience. And the minute we hit the sidewalk, people were just walking so fast. I couldn't believe trying to keep up with Molly. Boy, you didn't just saunter along. You had to really walk fast.
Do you remember what time of year that was?
That was probably, I bet it was May or June, probably.
Oh, you were just about to have Linda.
Well, that was later. We went there again on Thanksgiving.
Yes, we went there, and then they came down and visited us and brought Linda a whole bunch of toys and stuff.
So
Wow.
but Linda,
Didn't they buy her a crib?
I
Isn't that where
don't
we got that crib?
remember that. But they came down to Fort Meade and brought presents for Linda. They really liked you.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. They thought she was the
I
cutest thing.
remember Molly. They must have come to Blackfoot once, and all I remember was bright red lipstick.
Oh,
And they were really fun people, but she had bright red lipstick. I've never seen
That was Molly.
such bright red lipstick. And I was little then. I wasn't very big, but That's all I know.
They brought you a little toy that had a handle on it, and then on the bottom there was a little wheel that had something in it that made noise, so you could push it.
Oh,
And then that was just barely a day or two before Melanie was born
oh,
when they came.
oh.
So you were in Fort Meade by then.
Yeah.
And Linda had just learned to walk at that time. And we have that toy downstairs. I could go get it for you in a minute. That noisy thing the kids would run through here with that thing, it just drive her crazy. Like that's part of what tipped her over the edge. Anyway, they were sure good to us.
Boy, when you get us started, it takes more than 5 minutes. Did you notice that?
Yes, but what a pleasure. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess my final thought would be how good Melvin and Molly were to us. They
And
were,
how good our parents were to us up at the farm.
yes.
And helping you. And then when I got out of the Army, they took us in and we stayed there for nearly a year.
Yeah, everybody was
I don't know how they could stand us.
so good
They
to
did.
us.
And Dad really liked Linda and Melanie. He just loved those kids. And
Oh, wow, that's
we got along good with them. I'm sure hated to see us leave. That's what they
your
said.
granddaughter. That's what they said.
We thought
what they said.
we thought that would be.
Very likely they were both standing there with a chair and
Now you know
down
better,
the
huh?
That's
We
cool.
always
It was a
felt
lot of
like
fun.
they didn't want to see us go, and Grandpa would always go out and knock on the
Windows.
car and give you things, and
Yeah.
like, they just really didn't want you to go home.
Yeah, it was an interesting time.